there, I'm Laura from 5 out of 4 Patterns, and welcome to the Zen Pants Sew Along. I am so excited about this sew along, and I know that you are too. Part 1, we are going to print, assemble, and cut out our pattern and our fabric. Let's get started. Now you can see I've got my pattern all printed out, ready to go right here. And it's simple to assemble our patterns. If you have any problems printing or assembling, I will link the print video and the assembly video below and in the blog post as well, so that you have all the information you need to get started, especially if you're a first timer.
Drifting another state, floating above all the planes. Oh, I was searching for you. I didn't know it'd be like that. You would notice me like that. Looking forward to it, when you said to silence.
All right, I have assembled all of the pages to our pattern, and I don't necessarily need all of these pattern pieces. Depending on the options you choose, you may not need everything. So make sure you reference the print guide in the tutorial for the exact pieces you need. So obviously you can see here that I have printed everything, every single page. So there's even the maternity version. Yes, there's a maternity version to this pattern, and I even printed out that over the belly maternity panel. I am not pregnant. I do not need this pattern piece, but I wanted you to see the entire pattern assembled, and so you could see kind of how it all goes together. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to decide on my options that I'm choosing to go with, and I'm going to cut out my pattern accordingly. Beginning to cut on the front panel of our pants, and something to note is over here, this is the top of the pant, right? This is where your waistband connects, and you have 3 different lines. You have a high rise, a mid rise, and a low rise. And this is based on your preference or your needs as to whether or not, which line you are going to cut on. If you're making a maternity version, you're going to cut on the low rise, or if you just prefer low rise, or your body measurements indicate that you need low rise, then go ahead and do the low rise. Because I'm short-waisted, I do go with the low rise. It is the most comfortable for me. The high rise is much too high for my body. So you need to decide for yourself what rise you'd like. Now, the other thing that is helpful is making a muslin. Why make a muslin? A muslin is just like a sample garment. You're doing kind of a practice run, because if you've never made the pattern before, then you don't know exactly how it's going to fit on your body. Every body is different. No body is better than another body. We're just different. So it's important to make a sample or a muslin of any pattern that you make for the first time, so that you know what kind of adjustments you need to make. So I have made this pattern several times, so I know the kind of adjustments that I need or I don't need. But one of the big things for me is I like the low rise cut line. So that's what I'm going to cut. So make sure that you're making that sample, that muslin, so that you know what exactly you need to do if anything. Now, what should you make the muslin out of? That's a really good question. Thank you for asking. What you should make the muslin out of is something, if you can, something that is of similar weight and similar stretch to your good fabric, the fabric you're going to use for your actual pants, the ones you really want. Don't start out with your good fabric, because what if there's a problem and you can't fix it? Then you've wasted your good fabric, and we don't want to see any fabric go to waste. So make that muslin. Don't be afraid to take your time to make the muslin. It's okay. So now I'm going to cut out the front panel. Okay, so here we are. We've got our front waistband pattern piece, and it also has some cut lines here that are important. We have high, mid, and low, and those coordinate with the rise that you've chosen for the pant itself. So because I chose the low rise, I'm going to cut on the low line. Now, if you're doing maternity, there is also a cut line here for below the low rise, below the belly kind of waistband that some women prefer. Other pregnant women prefer that over the belly waistband, so that's a completely different piece that I kind of threw away at the beginning because I don't need that. But for me, I'm going to cut on the low line because that is the rise that I chose, and I'm going to cut straight across here unless I'm doing maternity, and then I'll come down here. But I'm not, so I'm going to go straight across. Alright, we've cut out all of our pattern pieces from the pages themselves, and I know what you're thinking, it's time to cut the fabric, but it's not. It's important to know your inseam length, because if you just do this out of the package, so to speak, you just don't make any changes at all. It may be too short, it may be too long for you, and I know in my case they're going to be way too long. Right, so if we look at our back pattern piece, you can see that there are cut lines for shorts, for capris, and for the pants with, what does it say, 31-inch inseam. So do you think that everyone has a 31-inch inseam? Well, I'm here to tell you that they don't. I bet that was a shocker. I don't have a 31-inch inseam. I have more like a 28-inch inseam for my full-length pants. Now, you probably have something different than 31 inches as well. So that's why it's important to locate the lengthen and shorten here lines so that you know when and where and how to lengthen or shorten a pair of pants based on your personal needs or the person that you're making the item for. So that's what I need to do, but we've got to decide what we're making first. I think that I am going to make a pair of capris, maybe shorts. I haven't really decided. I'm kind of waffling back and forth, but it's early March, and it's been cold, and I'm ready for warm weather. So I'm stuck between capris or shorts. So because I don't know which one, I'm going to cut at the capri line. Let's put that to the side. Now I've got my capris. I'm going to pull out my tape measure, and this is the inseam, all right? And that's what we want to measure. So okay, now I know the length of this inseam. I have to decide where my capri length actually goes for my body. Is it the full 25.5 inches that I think I just measured, or is it something else? Now, a way to do this is just to measure your inseam and make sure you're adding room there for your hem. Or you can always measure your favorite pair of capris, or your favorite pair of shorts, or your favorite pair of pants in the inseam, measuring that inseam and kind of take those measurements. That's helpful too. All right, let me show you something here. When we adjust this, you can see I've got this little piece here that kind of juts out here. That's okay. When you cut your fabric, you're going to make a gradual cut. You're not going to cut out any notches. So sometimes I even like do something like this, fold it just a little bit so it gradually goes in and it doesn't feel like there's a notch there. Sometimes that just makes things a little helpful. All right, let's do the front piece. Now, if you have any other adjustments, once you've made your muslin and you know what you need and don't need, and if you have any other adjustments to the pattern pieces that need to be made, you need to do those now. All right, that would be the best time to do it before you cut in to your precious fabric. Okay, my adjustments are made and I'm totally ready to get started. Now, I don't have a ton of fabric, so not every single pattern piece is going to be out of this lovely, lovely leopard print or animal print ponte that I got from our sponsor, Sly Fox Fabrics. If you have not checked them out, please do so right now. I give you permission to pause and do so this very minute at slyfoxfabrics.com. They've got you covered with basically whatever you could possibly need. This fabric is fabulous. I cannot wait to try these on. So we've got our pattern pieces and our fabric laid out and we are ready to go. I've got my collection of pattern pieces and my pattern weights. I am ready to get this thing started. Now, as I said, I don't have enough fabric, I don't think, to do everything. So I'm going to put the most important things that must be out of this fabric. I'm going to put those out here right now. So
drifting another state, floating above all the planes. Oh, I was searching for you. I didn't know it'd be like that. You would notice me like that. When you fall right into it, when you center silence, crashing into the deep end. You has a halo, night to lose and all of the taste, all of the taste. Way up here again.
right, as I've said, I don't have enough of this animal print ponte to go all the way through my entire pattern pieces. So I need to supplement something for the waistband. So. Well, that's part one, all done. Not too bad, didn't take you too long, and we are ready to start sewing tomorrow on part two.